Now, here are the early potential spreads for the next round. You already have Ohio State versus Texas. Ohio State is favored by 6. This according to DraftKings. If Notre Dame wins tonight, Notre Dame will be a 1-point favorite against Penn State. If Georgia wins, Georgia would be giving 1 point to Penn State. So that's the if scenario. The odds to win the college football playoffs, it's Ohio State, and then Texas, Penn State, Notre Dame, and then Georgia. Wow. So Ohio State, this is one of those where you watch them against Oregon, and I'm watching this game with an Oregon fan for a little while. He didn't last, and neither did Oregon. But we're watching, and he said, where was this Ohio State team all season long? I said, well, they were there. They just played poorly against Michigan. Everybody wrote them off after Michigan. Well, to me, it was just a poor game plan. They were out-coached in the game against Michigan. Because if you see that, like they can accidentally score 21 points. That kind of talent. Quarterback's good. Wide receivers are really good. Got a really good running back. And you got a good defense. That should be a formula that you win a game against Michigan. Well, Michigan is an anomaly. That game, it doesn't matter what your record is, it feels like going into that game. And Michigan went in with a better game plan. Last night was not the case. Ohio State knew what they wanted to do. They were going to strike early. And Chip Kelly, against his former school, he was going to make sure that they were coming at you from all different angles. And that was an impressive performance. People are like, they're surprised that Ohio State's really good. They spent $20 million on NIL in the offseason. They didn't just spend that on one player. They should be great. They are great. And I think that's what surprised people for some reason yesterday is, now maybe the bigger surprise is maybe Oregon wasn't up to what Ohio State was. Now, earlier in the year, Oregon beat Ohio State. Great game at Oregon. But that was just two different teams. And now you can say, well, was there rust? Oregon didn't play, and, well, it didn't factor in with Arizona State. Ohio State was a better team, by far, and we saw that last night. And, yes, does it take away from Oregon's season? It will, because I think people looked at, and somebody made the analogy, Oregon football is the Gonzaga of basketball, a finesse team. And maybe so. I mean, you're not going to out-physical Ohio State or Georgia or Texas. Just not. They spent a lot of money on that beef up front. That's why. So you're spending your money. They're getting quality defensive and offensive linemen. And that's the difference with good teams and great teams, controlling the line of scrimmage. But then you throw in the skill position players, then all of a sudden it wasn't fair. It wasn't a fair fight last night. But let's not forget, Ohio State is always good. Yes, Marvin.
Yeah, Oregon's kind of like a 90s European center. They have a great year. Arvydas Sabonis, Vlade Divac. But when the playoffs comes, Shaq just bullies them.
Wow.
That's exactly what happened yesterday.
So Oregon was Vlade Divac, and Ohio State was Shaq.
Yes, Dan Patrick.
All right. Dan Patrick, shut the hell up. The Quinn Ewers situation is fascinating. What if he wins a national title? Do they say, hey, that's awesome. Good luck. Where are you going to play next year? Because Arch Manning's coming in. And it feels like that's a foregone conclusion. Imagine doing what you're supposed to do, and you might not be able to keep your job. Ryan Day, if he wins a national title, he's keeping his job. But I wonder if they lose the game against Texas, or they lose the next. Like, I don't know how this works with, I would say that fan base, but that's, I don't understand the fan base. I mean, I was part of it because I understood Michigan, Ohio State, what it meant. But now it's different because the college football playoffs, where you have a lot of, there's better opportunities to get into the postseason. Whereas before you wouldn't have that. They're still going to spend money. They get the best wide receivers in the country, and they always have a great running back. You're getting quarterbacks in the transfer portal. And Ryan Day, I don't think he's going anywhere. But it certainly felt like that after the Michigan game. And you can win your way out of things. But, I mean, he's lost, 10 games? I mean, you'd say, how many has he lost? 10. But really, he's lost, 4? Because he lost to Michigan. And that shouldn't be the only thing that matters. Moving forward, that fan base should realize, yes, bragging rights, and it means, imagine we won the national title. Yeah, but you lost to Michigan. And it's the best rivalry in all of sports and what it means. It'd be like the Yankees and the Red Sox, and you face each other. It'd be like if the Red Sox beat the Yankees back in the ALCS, but they didn't win the World Series. Is there a part of your fan base that go, yeah, but we knocked out the Yankees? It's like, but you didn't win the World Series. That's sort of the feeling you get with Ohio State and Michigan. Look, Michigan played a great game with a great game plan and, on a down year. And Ohio State, 24-point favorites, and they acted that way. Last night, I mean, was I surprised that they dominated? I was not. It was a track meet. And Ohio State was like, you don't want to give them a chip on their shoulder. They might be the most talented team in the country, and you're going to go, all right, you guys are underdogs, or they think you're going to lose again. Hey, Ryan Day's on the hot seat. They played great football. And now you got to beat Texas in the Cotton Bowl, which is another problem I kind of have with the College Football Playoff Committee, that you set up this scenario where Texas plays a home game here. There's a few things they got to tweak here next year. This is the first go-around. You got to, there's always the first draft where you go, what were you thinking? Next year, it'll be different. And I go back to let Vegas help you with this, because there's no emotion, no feelings. Theirs comes down to, we want to make money. We don't want to lose money. We want to have the right matchups, the right teams playing one another. And I think that would help the College Football Playoff Committee. Because when you factor in, like emotions, you go, well, Alabama. I mean, we kept hearing that. The emotional part of this. Well, Alabama. Yes. But Alabama wasn't Alabama this year. But nobody wanted to believe it. When you saw the Vandy game, you go, well, okay, it's just. No, Vandy was a better team. Jalen Milroe regressed this year. I thought, man, here he comes. He's got to stay another year. I think we get caught up in, this is the way it used to be. You're going to buy into a brand, and that's not fair. It's not fair to the other schools. They're fighting that brand, and they might be a better team than that team. And Alabama they weren't playoff worthy. They just weren't. But I think we look at the end result, and then we say somebody shouldn't have been in. No, we said from the beginning Alabama shouldn't be in. I didn't think Indiana played a great schedule, but they did what they were supposed to do, and they got in. SMU, they did what they were supposed to do. Boise State, Arizona State. It's not like they go, hey, we're going to pick ourselves to be in the playoffs, and we'd like to have a first-round bye. I mean, let's be fair. Don't hold it against them. Oh, Indiana, they never should have been. Oh, okay. Who picked them? It wasn't a straw vote in Indiana where they go, hey, we all voted. We should be in, and we're playing Notre Dame. Like, just be fair to the schools. But I did root for the underdogs to not get blown out, because I knew that would take over the conversation of, never should have been there. Like, did anybody say Tennessee shouldn't have been in there? They got blown out the worst. And the answer is they should have been there. They did what they were supposed to do. But we got caught up in Alabama.